One summer moment can change a child's life. Through Toys for Tots Give and Go initiative, your support provides books, games, toys, and outdoor adventures that spark curiosity, creativity, and a love of nature. Whether it's fishing, learning a new sport, reading under a tree, or playing with friends, these moments build confidence and lifelong memories. For too many children, those moments never come. You can help change that this summer. Visit toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots, delivering hope beyond the holidays.
Michael Cohen, let's try to say this nicely. The real estate market in New York is not for the faint of heart. And so you right? I mean, and we've had a couple of stories in the last couple of weeks. Listen, if you want to push this, if you know, Brand, I'm going to help you, okay? Because we've had some stories in the last 10 days or so with the rent freeze situation, with landlords being squeezed even more. The landlords in New York aren't going to just roll over on this. This is not going to end well for the tenants, is it? All this.
Well, Jake, let me share a little bit of my life experience. Not only was I a lawyer, but maybe you didn't know this, I also had one of the largest fleets of yellow cabs in New York City. I had 285 yellow cabs prior to, of course, ride sharing and Bloomberg absolutely destroying it. But I was also a landlord. I had 7 properties at over 107 apartments, some rent stabilized, rent controlled, and fair market. So let me give you my perspective on what Mandani is saying. There is absolutely zero chance that he's going to be able to effectuate this without creating another 1970 situation where people throw their hands up and say, you know what, Mr. Smart Guy, here's the keys, you handle it. Very much like what happened in the 70s when the city turned to garbage.
The Bronx is burning.
Damn straight. And why? Well, you want to freeze rent? I'm all for that. Then how about freeze or lower real estate tax? How about lower sewer, water, insurance?
Well, they're raising water right now.
Yes.
And they're quasi-raising real estate taxes. And they want to freeze the rents effective October 1st. And there's going to be a challenge. The challenge is, and I had one of the, who was the big-time real estate litigator? Oh, I forget his name. Sherwin something? Belkin? Was it Belkin?
From Belkin Burden.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was him. Mm-hmm. And you can't have all expenses go up in the year 2025 and then him freezing taxes. So this could be playing the violin. You know what I mean by playing the violin?
Sure do.
In other words, he's playing the violin to his supporters. Look, I did it, knowing that he's going to be shot down later on. Oh, I did it, but they shot me down. It wasn't me. I did it for you.
If Mandani thinks that anything that he sold, especially to the young community, which is what got him elected, is realistic in any way, he's wrong and they're wrong. And ultimately what will happen is they will find out that promises made are not promises kept. Why? First and foremost, how are they going to compete with folks like yourself who are able to buy, for example, food at bulk pricing?
Oh, you can't.
So they're going to open up 1, 2 city-run free
4.
groceries?
Well, he's the expert on that.
4.
Bodegas.
It's crazy.
Good luck getting quality food. Maybe you'll get like the same garbage that they were serving us in prison, expired old food, right, where they can charge something for it. It's not realistic. When I said in real estate, every single year, the real estate tax goes up, water, electric, sewage, insurance, maintenance costs, and so on. That's right. All these folks should own the property, work. It's very difficult operating a building. Work 24/7 to ensure that you're able to provide the service that these, that the tenants deserve, and make not just no money, but lose money. Sure, that's a great business model for anybody. Now, I'm not saying that rent isn't high in New York. It absolutely is. So let's figure out a better way within which to allow people who make a certain amount of money to live. So, for example, there are people who have apartments in the city that do not live. They sublet it. Take it away from them. Have a process. They don't want a process. He's not sophisticated enough. The guy doesn't know anything. He's literally what is his background that he's now going to talk? How about consult with somebody like myself who's been in the real estate industry, who knows what they're talking about?
It's not happening.
He's got a bunch of geniuses sitting
Not
around
happening.
and saying, "Oh, absolutely. Oh, Mr. Mayor, boy, what a great
Michael,
friggin'
what
idea."
about what
Not
about,
happening, Michael.
Cohen, what about supply and demand? You want to see prices go down for something that people want. People are going to want to live in dwellings. They're not going to want to live on the streets.
Sure.
So you're never going to reduce demand. You've got to increase supply. Now, I'm not down with the whole taking away subletted apartments, but I like the idea of telling people all these things that are blocking.
Wait. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
So you have a rent stabilized or a rent controlled apartment.
Oh,
You're not even living in the state.
Oh,
You
wait a
moved out.
minute.
You're using that as an income
Now,
source?
that's different. Now, if they're subletting a rent controlled or rent
That's
stabilized,
what's
I'm with you.
happening.
That's what I said, and that's
so
exactly what's happening.
Then I'm
now,
with
let
you
me
on
go
that.
one
I'm with
step
you on
even
that.
further. Hold on. There is so much commercial real estate that is vacant in New York. How about create a fund and start taking some of these vacant commercial buildings and transforming them into housing? It's not as difficult as people
They're
say.
doing that.
They're
They're,
doing
they're
some of
starting.
it, but not
They're
enough.
starting to do that. You know what the problem?
Yeah, but it's only a game. They're
a
doing it to
talking point.
make believe they're doing something.
That's right. It's a talking point, and it's not.
They're making believe they're doing something.
You know what's so dangerous about Zoran Mandami?
Everything.
Is his charm. He's likable. People love him. He speaks well. He's energized.
But he's never had a real job.
But we all know that. But they still elected him as mayor of New York City.
Yeah, but Michael
Come
Cohen,
on.
you told us your background a couple of times here. You've been a hustler from really day one. You've had all these jobs, all these properties. Here's a guy who's the mayor of the greatest city in the world who never had a real job. How does that make you feel?
And no money. He's broke.
Yeah, how does that make you feel?
Worthless.
Well, Michael, I got to tell you something. You said you own 250 cabs.
286. Why are you counting?
I made tens of millions of dollars for you. I'll tell you how and when we get off the air.
When are we having our break?
I don't know because
there are
I
no
can't-
breaks
because I
here.
lost-
There's no
I
break?
lost it all.
There are
What
no
you
breaks
talking
here.
about?
Michael's taking up
We're
all
breaking
my
all the
time.
we can't silence Michael Cohen like his other folks tried to do. Michael Cohen, listen. There's a lot of people listening, and they're going to be saying something along these lines, and I want you to respond to it. And I'm not making. And I'll be one of those people. Sometimes I say this too. Hey, I like to hear from people who really know the inside stuff, and that's important. But why you specifically? Not only because of all the experience you had with Donald Trump, but why you specifically? Because you had a life before Donald Trump. You're having a life after you're working for him as well. So is there something specific that you bring to this? Because if I had a guess, I'd say it's a New York story. But you tell me.
What do I bring to the table? I
Yeah.
bring knowledge. I bring facts. I bring information that you cannot have because you were not there behind the curtain. Not only, again, we'll start with Donald Trump. Not only do I have knowledge about the initial parts of the campaign all the way through his first victory, look at what's happened to me as a direct result of his first victory. People don't seem to understand that there's real lives behind this. And I understand their need to keep control, to keep power. This is one gigantic power play against one another, right? The Republicans versus Democrats, and then the Democrats versus Republicans. But here's the worst part. For Trump, it wasn't just Democrats versus the Republicans. It was Republicans against Trump. It was when you have somebody like John McCain going up against Trump, and anything that he did, he was trying to knock it down. And there was a whole group of Republicans that feared Trump, feared him terribly. Why? Because here's an outsider. He's not part of the establishment. He's anti-establishment. He's coming in with his own Donald Trump methodology, which they don't understand. And they didn't want to understand. We like the game just the way it is. We're controlling the game from soup to nuts. Here comes Donald Trump, a disruptor. And all of a sudden, whoa, what was supposed to be a joke, as they were describing it, a joke, he's rising in the polls week after week after week after week. And then, as week after week after week had, the size of the organization grew. we started bringing in more people, and those people brought in more people. And then next thing you know, you have 2 full floors worth of people calling and dialing and making and moving and da-da-da-da-da. And all of a sudden, it's 50-50 between him and Hillary Clinton. Now, as per my Democratic Party, let me say, could have been the stupidest move in the world. Hillary Clinton, very much the opposite of Mandani, is not personable. People don't like her. She's competent. She's very smart. I've had
very smart lady.
Very smart lady. You cannot take that.
And,
you cannot take anything away from her for that, right? Former, First Lady, Secretary of State. She's a very smart lady, but she is unlikable. One thing anybody who meets Donald Trump will say, he's exceptionally charming. Very, very charming.
And they do the same thing about Bill Clinton.
And Bill Clinton.
Yeah, which is why Hillary has no excuse.
And Obama.
She literally was married to a guy.
Obama guy.
Yeah, but she was literally married to a guy. By the way, Michael Cohen, what you're talking about is encapsulated in something the view.
Why do you use both my names? You can just call me Michael like my
because
kids do.
I want the listeners to know who the heck you are.
Well, when you know, you know.
Yeah. But there's got to be someone who's letting people know who the heck's talking here. That's going to be me. Michael Cohen.
That's my expression, who the heck is that?
Yeah, that's right. Michael, there was something that you just said that was encapsulated, and maybe the listeners remember this. There was a picture of Hillary Clinton taking a break on the campaign trail in 2016, and they went to a Chipotle. And she's behind.
Is that how you pronounce it, by the way?
Yes, not Chipotle. And she's wearing these big dark glasses. She doesn't want anyone to. Now, if that had been Bill or Donald Trump, they would have been behind the counter taking selfies.
Absolutely.
With the workers. So you talk about how people not liking her. I got to say, I'm going to one up you, Michael Cohen.
Go for it.
I don't think she likes people. I think the feeling is mutual, and I got the same feeling from Kamala Harris as well. You got to at least be able to fake it. Now listen, Bill Clinton likes some people a little too much, if you know what I mean. But still, I literally truly believe.
Well, Andrew Cuomo does too.
Yeah, I think he really does like people. I don't think that some of these people, and it's like being a surgeon who's afraid of the sight of blood. What the heck are these people doing in politics, Michael Cohen?
Don't know, don't care, because right now, what I want to see is a united America. I want the nonsense to stop, the divisiveness, the hatred, the vitriol, the conversation. We need to, again, start uniting as a country. And the only way that we do that, again, is through my tired majority. I really, truly believe it. I believe that the bulk of America actually wants normalcy. We want to know the truth. We want the facts. What I start seeing when I look at some of these television shows, especially the CNNs and the MS Now, it's no longer about reality. It's not about facts. It's opinion news. What happened to the days of Walter Cronkite? What happened to the days of the Barbara Walters when they told you something, you believed it? Today, nobody believes anything anymore.
They were lousy too, by the way. I'm sorry to say that, but
don't bust my bubble, pal.
That some guy living on the Upper East Side and Walter Cronkite, and I think as a person,
but
he was a good guy.
92% of the American people
trusted him.
Yeah. One thing is what you feel, and one thing is what reality is. And what happened in the last, I think, as we think about it more and more and more, it's post-Obama era that the Democratic Party was being taken over. And the common sense Democrats have to have the courage to stand up.
Hatred of America.
Yeah,
the Democrats hate America.
And
they tell the pollsters, they're not even ashamed of it. Only 27% of Democrats say they love America. I mean, I listen. We can have differences of opinion.
There's something wrong here. There's something wrong
here. Well, you had a
because
president who hated America.
I think the rest of them are scared to say they love America.
Yeah.
They're scared of their fellow Democrats.
You had a
I'm
president.
I'm a Democrat. I'm not afraid.
I
love America.
Yeah. Well, you're
Michael,
in a minority.
You're a Democrat, Michael?
I've been a Democrat my whole life.
But that doesn't mean you can't switch over. Why aren't you a Republican?
Even Carville. Did you see what happened with Carville last week?
No.
I think
Carville,
he's losing it.
Says I can't be a member of this Democratic
Party. Oh, by the way,
Party.
I did see that.
Yes.
I saw that in the interview.
And Dershowitz, a lifelong Democrat, says I can't be a part of this Democratic Party.
You know what, John? When I get home today, I'm actually going to switch. I'm going to join the Independent Party.
Michael,
breaking news.
Michael, breaking news.
That's it. I'm going to do it. Breaking. I'm doing it.
This is an official announcement.
That's it. Now you got to do it.
This is an official announcement.
Well,
Michael Cohen,
I will bring it in the show.
Former attorney to the President of the United States, says he is
I'm done
with the Democratic Party, and he is announcing that he's going to go home and become
Like
a
I'm watching
registered
right here.
Republican.
I'm watching Blumenthal on your television over here. And I'm saying to myself, seriously, I know. I don't even have to hear the sound, and I know exactly what he's saying. Everything that he says. If Donald Trump breathes, why is he breathing? What's he breathing for?
The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.